Now-ish. I have to actually listen back to these and find out when the record actually starts between the time it says start record and the number actually appears.
Yes. It doesn't say that we're recording.
It does now, though. Welcome back to the Dr. Z Show.
Well, back.
So what do we? Well, actually, so who is with you, Jacob? Who do we have with us on this episode of the Dr. Z
I
Show?
see them all. The dead. No, I'm just kidding. It's my fiance.
Hello.
She's not dead.
Yet.
I'm in. Anyway.
This
So what are we talking about today?
Will be a guest host for today.
Via Jacob, since they're in the same location. Unlike that, horrible episode where we had my fiance in the same room as me.
Each genre, specifically favorite games of video games. Because the other things are pretty standard. You either have card games or board games. So for video games, there's like bazillion genres.
Yes. So we realized that our list is like 100 things long. So we're gonna go through probably half the list today, maybe a little more than half the list, and we'll see where we get, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. So we're gonna be talking about our favorite game and why in that genre.
So why don't you start us off? What's first on the list?
So I think first on the list was 3D action platformer, and I put Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. And it is a first person shooter, but I can there's so much of it is more about the platforming and the exploration than it is about just run and gun. And it's at heart it's a Metroid game. You know, you get the standard fare of upgrades and stuff, but it's more about the platforming. Other games that we considered just as in this genre were the 3D Mario games. As you know, those are.
Would Odyssey even count?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I played like an hour of Odyssey.
Of Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah. Not Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
I gotta put my favorite game in this genre as Jet Set Radio. Like, you could make the argument that it's a racing game, since you're racing against the clock in every stage, but
yeah,
it's 3D, it's action, it's a platformer. It's a 3D action platformer.
Yeah. And my reason for Metroid Prime 2 Echoes is it's kind of brutal. It's really
hard or brutal.
It's just really hard.
I think we talked about this on the last episode. I think you brought up how difficult that game was.
Yeah. That's part of why I like it. The other part is the music's great. The storyline is also really good. The environments are very unique because you have a light and a dark version of each environment, and it's pretty sweet. And the boss fights are really satisfying because they're so hard.
Okay. So Dark Souls before Dark Souls was Dark Souls.
Yeah.
If you're willing to, to make that comparison. All right, so 3D action platformer. This is going to be like a highly contested category. I don't know if it is for the two of you, but it was for me. Next category we have is fantasy RPG. And so I got to go with The Witcher 3. Like, is a hard choice, but The Witcher 3, and I'm going to tie it, and this is the only category I will accept a tie in, but I'm going to tie it with Breath of the Wild. They're both fantasy RPGs, but they're just different enough that I will allow a tie.
Yeah, you can talk all about Witcher because I haven't played that one, so mine is Breath of the Wild.
What about you, Jacob? Thoughts?
Well, having Breath of the Wild in the category makes things hard. I'm choking on my nachos. Oh no.
Maybe you should get your own nachos. They're nachos.
Okay. I can't remember the name of the game, which is terrible.
It's my favorite though.
It was the
That's why I
second
should
Golden
write them
Sun
all
game.
down.
Um,
Golden Sun New
but-
Age.
yeah, or something like that, whatever the title was. But that game was just like, I don't know. I played a lot of it. It was really it's a lot like other games in that genre. It's very similar to like a Final Fantasy game. But unlocking the different like the different summons you could do was really satisfying. And they all had like cool ties to like actual like the like Greek gods or Norse mythology or other things that it really like inspired me to look into the backstory and the inspiration for all of those. Okay. And so I just really enjoyed it.
Became educational.
Yeah.
I gotta give some honorable mentions in this category just because there are so many games that we've both played and enjoyed that fill into this category. Skyrim, and I'm gonna get flack for this so hard. Dark Souls 2. I really enjoyed Dark Souls 2, and I know a lot of people don't like it, and I understand your gripes about it. Just know that I don't care about your feelings. Dark Souls 2. Also, Bravely Default is gonna get an honorable mention from me. I did really enjoy that game. The way they went about telling the story though is what's mostly keeping it from being in my top games, because the way they tell the story and the stupid decisions that the characters make that you have no control over irritates me like to no end. So
And with story, I do wish that Breath of the Wild had more that was present day story as opposed to just learning flashbacks all the time. It would be nice if there was more that he did to interact with people of the present day apart from just a bunch of fetch quests.
And that was what was I remember when Breath of the Wild was like they were talking about what kind of game it was and like when it was coming out. People were like, "Okay, how are you going to have this kind of Legend of Zelda game because Link is a mute? Like he can't." And that's the thing that sort of bothers me about it, is that he can't interact with other people. Like he's just there.
I mean, he says yes or no.
I think that actually a lot of the dialogue choices
are also very sassy.
Imply that he's acting very sassy and he is saying words. Like, we don't see the words he says, but other people respond as if there was actual dialogue. When you're talking to NPCs and things like that, it's as if he's talking.
Also,
and we just don't know what he's saying.
Yeah. In one of the like the booklets or something that's describing Link, it says that when he was just the knight of Zelda, that he was super stoic and was known for being really quiet because he was just so serious with like, okay, like Ganon's coming, I have to protect her, like, so he really like shut himself off emotionally. But the booklet says that when he came out like into this world where no one knew really who he was and there wasn't this like pressure on him constantly, that he became a lot more talkative.
He could become his own person.
Yeah, and that's in one of like the official booklets somewhere.
Okay.
I watched a video about it, so I don't remember all of the.
Yeah, so while he has no voice acting, it does imply that he is talking.
Although we know what happens when we give a silent character voice acting.
Don't speak of such things.
What are you talking about?
We can't speak of it. It's evil.
No, but what is it?
It's evil.
We can't call it by name. That gives it power.
Silent characters that I can think of are Chell from Portal and Gordon Freeman from the Half-Life series. And that's
Samus Aran. Sevens.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
the horrible game.
Other end.
Hey, Prime.
She said
Prime-
it. She spoke it.
Oh no! We have to do the ritual.
Yep.
You have to spin around to the left 3 times and spit over your shoulder.
Don't forget the salt.
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
Okay, so we're way too long on this second category.
The wild.
First-person shooter.
I don't play them because they make me anxious.
Jacob.
Halo 3 ODST. I love the storyline
Being
and the feel. It's everything, the ambiance. Like, you feel so lonely. It's
It's
great.
so hard. It's
Yeah.
so hard, and the lighting engine is so bad. It's very good though. It's so good. Like
It's one of the few games that I've purchased the soundtrack for, like, intentionally.
purchased the soundtrack for. It was your going away present.
Yes, that's true.
You have the soundtrack.
And Anthony bought it for me at my request.
Did you actually?
I'm pretty sure. I think
'Cause I
you
remember
asked.
thinking about it. I was like, I remember asking you. I was
I
like,
thought
can
I
you
asked
listen to this on your mission if I get it for you? I remember that conversation.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've got to put Doom, the new Doom, not like Doom from 7 centuries ago, because
I did.
that game is it's just fun. Like, it's just fun. And it's the opposite of Dark Souls. The comparison there is Dark Souls, you're locked in a room with demons. In Doom, the demons are locked in a room with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But my honorable mentions there are Left 4 Dead, Left 4 Dead 2 specifically, and Half-Life, the original Half-Life. I enjoyed more than Half-Life 2.
Hmm.
Can you stop the like moaning when you're walking around? It's a little distracting. Talking to my fiance.
I was like,
Is
No.
she a zombie?
none of the sounds we were making.
Yeah, no, it's never mind.
She's a zombie.
Anyway,
Have to have.
so
I know she's not Claire anymore. You have to have the strength to just take the shotgun and put her down.
wow, that's brutal. Do not do that. We are recording. Do not do that in my ear, please. Thank you. Anyway,
She's just trying to eat your brains.
do you have you don't have any honorable mentions, Jacob?
For first-person shooters,
I don't have any mentions.
I mean, Halo
I
2.
have played Call of Duty.
Oh, Black Ops 2 though. Admittedly, mostly for the multiplayer though. Like, I really enjoyed just like all of the maps and the general design of that multiplayer was very enjoyable.
I'm planning on playing Splatoon because there is a free trial right now. And I think
Splatoon
that
2 is if you're talking about what I'm talking about for Switch, Splatoon 2 is pretty good. It's mean to you though. It explains zero things. So
that
just
seems
be
about
prepared
right.
for that. It explains absolutely nothing about how the game works.
Okay.
So
I will
be
look up
ready. Yeah, look up a guide. Okay. Jacob, you start with the next category because I will be on this.
So real-time strategy is the next category, and I picked Battalion Wars for the GameCube. A lot of the other real-time strategies, one, I just didn't have them growing up. Partly because the one that I did buy, that I was planning on playing, my mom was like, "There's skeletons in it," and she wouldn't let me play it.
What?
So
What game was that?
it was just called like Magic, I think.
Was it Heroes of Might and Magic?
Maybe not. You started out and you could choose. There were like 6 different schools of magic that you could choose to represent.
Definitely sounds like Heroes of Might and Magic.
Yeah, it could be.
I wouldn't
just
know
remember
which one because there's like a million of them, but
just the word magic was like the biggest word, and like
yeah,
and like
Heroes of Might and Magic.
yeah.
It's
So-
it's definitely a
Um, I do wonder though, because it was were those games like in a series?
Yeah,
Okay, it didn't seem like it was part of anything. Like it seemed like it
it
was
could
a
have been it could have
game.
been Dark Messiah, which was like a
Mm,
spin-off game.
I don't know. It was just I'll look it up sometime. And it's probably in my basement somewhere.
Although if it's real-time strategy, then it's definitely not Dark Messiah because that's an RPG.
Yeah, but a lot of real time strategies, like when I went to play them later, like you tried to introduce me to like StarCraft and Age of Empires, they were just too stressful for me. I was like, there's so many things to manage. Um, but Battalion Wars, what I would do instead of actually managing my troops, I
You
would
would just
just
pick them one at a time.
I would pick
Yeah.
one rifleman, send him into the town, like kill all of the enemies, like slowly kill a tank.
You had more
'Cause the
patience
thing is-
than most of us did growing up.
yeah, because in Battalion Wars, you part of the reason I loved it is you could do that, so it was like slightly less stressful. And then two, there was you could because you could take control of like the individual. Well, you could do that and other things, but like there was a dodge mechanic that you could do if you were controlling just like
Oh,
a
the
single unit.
roll.
Yeah, there was a dodge. Yeah, there's a
Right.
dodge roll. And so you could with just a single character like take out a bunch of the enemy if you were just skilled enough. Um, rather than like using the like terrain and type advantages and like other
Actually
things.
playing the game.
Yeah, so my
Play it
favorite
your way.
yeah, it's my favorite real time strategy because I could ignore all the real time strategy elements.
You're the worst.
Yeah, I'm checking Wikipedia to see if I have played any of the games that it's listing as RTSs.
I will sing its praises until the day I die. Age of Empires 2. The real-time strategy game. And my fiance asked me once, if you were stranded on like a desert island, you could only bring one game with you. Like you get all the like, whatever it comes with, or like it's on the computer or whatever, you get all that stuff. But you get one game and you can only play that game for the rest of your life. What game is it? Hands down, Age of Empires 2. No contest.
No contest.
Basically, yes. Honorable mentions though, Command and Conquer. Specifically Command and Conquer Yuri's Revenge and StarCraft 2. Those are both games I do like. And I was world ranked in Command and Conquer and in Age of Empires when I was younger and had nothing else to do other than play those games.
Cool.
But Age of Empires 2, so good. I'm even now playing it.
To this day.
No, like at this moment right now I'm playing it while we're recording.
Awesome.
Turn-based strategy.
Civilization. Sid
I-
Meier.
Yeah, I gotta put Civ 4 as my honorable mention, specifically Beyond the Sword expansion.
I have
Oh, cool.
played Civ.
All right. Well, Abby has indeed played an RTS.
Wait,
No,
that's
it's
turn-based.
turn-based. We moved on, Jacob.
Oh, wait.
We moved.
Wait.
Civ is turn-based, Jake.
Civ is turn-based? I always
Yes.
assumed it was. I've never played any of them.
We had this
Oh.
conversation like a week ago, and you were like, "What?" It's still
Oh.
a turn-based game. No, I'm certain. We're not doing
I
the
am
thing
certain
where I
we did.
thought we had this conversation. I am 100% sure that we had a
I'm
conversation about
100%
what
sure.
kind of game Civilization was.
Yeah, that's turn-based, bro.
We'll fight. I'll fight
That's fine. That's also fine.
We had this
I will
conversation.
stick to my. I'm sticking to my guns.
I think it appeals to a very just primal part of you, of
Bananas.
the human nature, in that you want to conquer things. You want to, have a throne room that goes from Stone Age boring to eventually having all the gilded thrones and fancy
Flying
tapestry
bounty.
hanging down the sides.
Yeah, because I've never played any of them, and I've just always assumed because of the nature of people talking about the different like nations going against each other. I've just always assumed it was an RTS.
It feels like a board game, honestly.
Yeah, it's very board gamey.
Game where you can invest points in different skill sets and things.
It also takes 7 centuries to play.
It does. So it's even worse than a board game like Risk.
It's like playing Twilight Imperium. Remember we had a conversation
Civilization.
about Twilight
Worse
Imperium?
than Risk. Sid Meier's worse than Risk.
But the thing is, you can save it, and it doesn't leave a giant board on the table for the cat to knock over.
That's true. But you
And you
are
can
you are
play-
you are just as liable to stay up until 3 in the morning playing the game.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I actually have to say Advance Wars is my favorite turn-based strategy game. Because I will continue to pull out my Game Boy Advance and play it to this day. Although Wargroove bleh, for the Switch is also going to be an honorable mention for me because I do quite enjoy that game, although it is hard.
My favorite turn-based strategy is Fire Emblem Sacred Stones.
Yeah.
Because that game has so much endgame content that I didn't even finish, despite
Awakening.
the owl.
Awakening is mine for Fire Emblem.
Yeah,
Sacred Stones though, I can definitely see that.
and
So let's move on. We already talked about fantasy RPGs, but what about modern RPGs? So anything that's not fantasy, anything that's an RPG that's not fantasy RPG.
I guess Dishonored counts just because I want it to. Although there's a lot of fantasy elements to it. It's like steampunk.
Yeah, I would make the case that it's a modern RPG. And not in the sense that like you level up, but that you like have to invest like points in skills, and you
That
like
makes sense.
get those points by like achieving goals or like searching for the items.
Yeah,
Mine is gonna be Dying Light, actually.
really.
And I've surprised myself by picking that because I really enjoyed it. I had a really good time playing it, and I really like the Fallout series. I wouldn't be able to. It would be a tough call for me between 3 and 4. I would probably end up going with 4.
Not even New Vegas.
New Vegas, I liked it until the end. The end
Oh.
with the way the story is, and I don't want to give anything away about the game, but the way the story is written, the end is the most unfulfilling thing ever. Like, it's like if you play New Vegas, don't like play it up until like you know it's about to be the end, and then do everything else you want to do before you end the game. Because the ending is that unfulfilling that you won't want to go back to it. And my this is like a hybrid because it's a very first person shooter. But my honorable mention for modern RPG is Borderlands 2. I had a really good time playing Borderlands 2, and I played a lot of it.
Yep. I would have had more fun playing Borderlands if I didn't have a terrible laptop. Honestly, and if I'd had a controller connected to it, because like me in first-person shooters and using a mouse is just like sad.
Which is kind of disappointing.
Yeah, it doesn't work out well for me ever.
All right, well, so here we go. What's our next category?
It just feels unfulfilling. JRPGs. And I was informed that Pokemon is a JRPG because you use the power of friendship to kill God. So.
Not necessarily to kill God, mostly to capture him and trap him in a tiny ball for your own amusement. Sort of like a monkey.
That's true.
And what Pokemon is your favorite then?
Pokemon Emerald for me.
Pokemon game, not Pokemon. Period.
Yeah, Emerald version.
See that coming.
Once again, another game that had a ton of endgame content, which is Majam.
I haven't played enough of the genre to have any strong opinions either way. about anything because I haven't played.
We did play the Monster Hunter demo, and we hated it.
And Octopath.
Oh yeah.
Octopath Traveler is not on the list for me. Yeah, I enjoy it, but I don't feel that I've played enough of it to be able to make a reasonable like I like this game or I don't like this game kind of choice.
We only acquired 2 of the heroes, and then so. Oh yeah, 3, but we only did a little bit with her.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say that I have
Also
enough
make it sound
experience with it
weird.
to make a judgment.
I'm gonna have to go with Pokemon Blue version. Just because it was the first and it was great and I loved it and I've played through all of it probably an embarrassing amount of times. But honorable mention, and don't kill me for this, Pokemon Moon.
I'll kill you for that. No, I have no idea why that would be controversial.
We're gonna murder
Because
you.
it changed so much of what originally, like what Pokemon was, that people felt like Sun and Moon like kind of betrayed the series, which I think is ridiculous.
Was that the one that introduced Mega Evolutions? Like, what was the thing that was so
No, that
heretical?
was I think X and Y introduced Mega Evolutions.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that was controversial is there aren't gyms.
Ah.
What?
Yeah, there are no gyms. There are like challenges that you have to. There are like these specific challenges that you have to complete for each of the island kahunas.
So wait,
it's based on
So what you're
Hawaii.
saying is it was the Orange Islands of the Pokemon games.
I'm lost. What?
Did you ever watch the Pokemon anime? The Orange
yeah. Yeah.
There were islands that they had to like sort of, and they even had their own league, which was crazy. Their like own Pokemon league. I think that was the only one that Ash like ever actually did well in, because he gets his butt kicked in all of the other Pokemon leagues.
Ash is a scrub.
Ash, the most mediocre Pokemon trainer in the world.
Yep.
He does really well in some of the later seasons. But yeah, Pokemon Moon is my honorable mention.
Huh.
Okay. We all had one for JRPG, right? You were talking about Baten Kaitos a lot, Jacob. Did you want to put that somewhere on the list?
Really? I don't know. Well, I'll talk about it 1 second. I'm chewing a nacho.
Just one.
Audio hell for a podcast. Come on, man.
You're not wrong. Yeah, you give me shit about chewing on the microphone. You're eating nachos while we're recording.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I haven't said anything, so I wasn't sure how much you could hear.
All of it.
Yeah, we can hear every time you move your mouth. It's like
every front.
The salivation.
Metallica concert.
Okay, so I will talk about both these games because they're actually like somehow in a similar category, but not exactly. Mega Man Battle Network 3 and Baten Kaitos, they're both like RPGs, but the battle system in both of them is not quite turn-based, but it's based off of a card system. So I've really enjoyed both of those games. And Baten Kaitos is the closest, I guess, other than putting Pokemon in this category, to like a JRPG that I've played. So anyways, it's a good game. It's a long game. The story is there's a lot of really good parts in the story, and there's some really terrible parts in the story that are very funny because they're so terrible.
Terrible as in like I can't
like
believe I just watched that, or terrible like laughably bad writing?
Yes, the second one.
Okay.
Like one of the villains, like at the end, like you fight, like his soul melts with the earth or something like that, and you fight just a giant version of his head that's like poking out of the ground. And it's one of like
This is
the
Mega
final
Man.
boss fight.
This is
Yeah,
Mega
it's
Man?
weird. No, this is Bacon Katos.
Okay, I was like, what?
No, the writing in the
Are
Mega
you
Man Battle
talking
Network game
about?
is great. With sort of the exception of Battle Network 4. That one is a lot of people don't like Battle Network 4. But 3's amazing. The writing in 3 is great. The writing in 5 is great. Writing in 6 is also great. But yeah, 4
These
4 was
games
a
are
little
there?
weird. There were 6 of them.
Okay. Anyway,
Anyways, Battle Network 3, great game. Made me cry.
did it really?
Oh yeah.
I don't know, like
There's a twist ending and it made me cry.
a twist. Do you die at the end?
Someone dies in the end.
Okay, is it you?
Someone.
Is it your hopes and dreams?
Someone.
You
No
know?
spoilers.
No spoilers.
Okay.
And now we're on to puzzles.
Yes, puzzle games. Gotta say, keep talking and nobody explodes. And I will argue all day until I'm blue in the face that it is a puzzle game. You cannot play this game in a party setting. If you play this game in a party setting, you will be disappointed.
Yeah, sounds about right.
It's so complicated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. Have you looked into that one much?
Nope, never.
Oh,
This
it's
is the first I've heard of it.
It's horrifyingly fiendish.
Oh, I'll bring the instructions when I come to Utah and we'll play it.
Look, and then you drop the instructions on the table and it thuds.
They're only like 20 some pages.
Yeah, and you have to consult it a lot.
Oh man.
From what I
It's
remember.
consulted for everything, like unless you
Mhm.
can memorize them like a psychopath.
For puzzle games, I'll say Portal because I'm just a normie plebe, but I will give my honorable mentions to Lemmings and The Incredible Machine, which are both older games that I played a lot in the 90s.
Incredible
I
Machine.
did
Sweet.
play Incredible Machine.
It was a good.
It was incredible.
You have, weird things of the puzzle like cats and mice and alligators, as well as gears, pulleys.
Oh, I just
all
blew
sorts-
stuff up all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We sort of argued that Portal wasn't a puzzle game. Well, I made that argument.
Described as a puzzle platformer, right?
Yeah.
Here's why I don't agree with it being a puzzle game. Is it's the same every time. Oh
Wait, no. Wait, so
no.
if how many levels does a puzzle have to have in order to
Yeah, what are you saying? It's the same every time. It has different levels and things. Like, yes, the solution is typically like.
Well, no.
you know.
Okay, so the way you complete each level is done in a specific order, and each level is the same every time. So, like, say you play Portal, you start it up, you complete the first chamber, you you stop playing, you don't play it for 7 centuries, you start it up again, you start over. The first chamber, the solution is the same.
Yeah. So are you saying that it does not?
My point is, it's the same every time in that sense.
Many puzzle games are. They don't have levels that change if you go back to them later.
like that game like Traffic Jam or whatever? It's a board game, but like
Right.
the solution to every challenge is the same solution, but is
When it
it
comes
not
to-
a puzzle game?
When you think of Incredible Machine, like those are puzzles because there is a linear kind of story mode where you go through the puzzles in order, or you can just do freeform type things and create your own nonsense. But there is a progression, and once you figure out how to beat one puzzle, you have figured it out. So if you go back later, you'll probably remember most of it.
Okay.
But
I can get behind that. Like, fair enough. So okay, yeah. So Portal is a puzzle game. Still not my favorite.
Yeah, I guess if the point of the gameplay is to solve a puzzle.
whether or not it has much replay value is a different.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking probably too much about the replay value aspect.
My favorite was Pokemon Puzzle Challenge for this category, which is it's admittedly that game's more of a match, like one of those matching drop games. Just has the word puzzle
Like
in it.
Bejeweled.
Yeah, it's a Bejeweled-esque game. Bejeweled clone, one might say.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it has the word puzzle in it, so it must be.
Moving right along. Oh wait, you had something to say, Abby?
I was just gonna say that I've played a lot of Bejeweled type games, but a lot of them weren't.
Snood.
Yeah.
Snood. My mom played the heck out of Snood when she was doing University of Phoenix Online. Snood was her time wasting game.
That was my jam. A lot of things
Snood.
like that.
Wow. That takes me back to like. Wow. Snood.
Yeah, a lot of my game experiences are either very modern because I got a Switch a year ago, or extremely old, like DOS kind of stuff, because we just had Mac kind of games.
Casuals.
Yep.
Which there's nothing wrong with casual gaming.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to roguelike games.
Now, the thing that I don't like about roguelikes is the thing that other people do like, which is that you can't save your progress and you have to just like get good. One of the things that I like about Breath of the Wild is that there's not really permadeath. You keep all your items, you can hoard all your items and just have like 900 apples in your inventory and just chow down on them during the heat of battle. But Jacob loves roguelikes, so I will give this to him.
Yeah, it's really the only roguelike that I've played, but Enter the Gungeon. I've played a few other ones that I hate, but
Which ones do you hate that you've played?
Pixel Dungeon. Specifically.
That's because Pixel Dungeon's not good.
Exactly.
I gotta go, and I'm gonna you are going to play this game, Jacob. But Dead Cells. Like
Dead Cells Washington. Sorry, I had to. It wasn't really a pun at all for anything. I just wanted to say it.
What are you talking about?
Like Denzel Washington. Dead Cells.
Oh my god! Shut up! You are the worst.
Can we get married?
Abby just asked if it's even possible
You're
for us
the
to be married.
worst. That is so bad. You should. Someone should punch you. Abby,
I mean,
you should punch Jacob.
Abby was just about to
punch him
make a case for domestic violence.
Oh my! I cannot believe that you said that.
He had it coming. He had it coming.
I'm gonna punch you in the throat. What? Like
I've trailed everything. This is beautiful.
we're moving on from this category.
Agent of Chaos.
Simulation.
Factorio.
Alright.
You could hear that?
Yeah, Factorio.
Yeah, she was across the room. So.
I've not played a lot of Factorio, but what I have played of it, I enjoyed. I gotta get my hands on some more of it before I can really make a case for it. And I might be saying this just because I've been playing it kind of nonstop. But Stardew Valley, and I stayed away from Stardew Valley for a long time because I was like, oh, there's no way that I'll really enjoy this game. And I started playing it, and I was like, whoa, I can't stop. It's a problem.
And you won't stop.
You need to stop though.
But I can't stop.
Ah! Also, I
It
gotta
does
go.
have elements of tower defense in that yes, there are like some bug thing, like not robot, but like evil alien bugs that you need to just shoot so that they won't destroy your supply lines. But it's
Wait, what
basically
part
just
of Stardew Valley are you playing?
I'm talking about Factorio.
Oh, okay. I missed that. I was like, what? I was
No,
like, I honestly am not that far in Stardew
and it's
Valley.
just like there's no real storyline. You're just trying to increase the efficiency of your mining and production kind of things, and it's just so pure.
Oh, so it's Russia
And
Simulator.
it shouldn't be fun, but you just when you have a bottleneck in production, you have to figure out a workaround.
It's
It can be
absorbing.
very satisfying.
I know the feeling. I also gotta give an honorable mention to Roller Coaster Tycoon. I played a
Mhm.
lot of that game when I was little, and I can't really think of a different category for this, so I'm gonna put MechWarrior 3 in this category. The more modern MechWarrior games, while they have a lot of elements of other games, I would say simulation is probably the closest you'll come to like a single defining term.
My runner-up is going to be Zoo Tycoon, specifically if you have Dragon and the Marine Life expansions, because then you
There was
can
a dragon expansion?
not Dragon, Dinosaur.
Okay, I was like, whoa, I missed something.
Dinosaur, I goofed.
Dinosaur expansion was great.
Yeah, because sicking all the you want to build it up into the most just utopian kind of zoo where everything is perfect. Everyone like guest satisfaction is off the charts. The animals are thrilled to be there, and then once there's very little that you can do to improve it, you send everything to hell.
Sure.
And
Yeah,
you
you two definitely like you need to get married. Like kind of soon. Like now. Like right now. Um
I don't.
I
I've played a lot
also
of
gonna
simulation
say
games. I sort of put Trauma Center Second Opinion on this list. It's a surgeon simulator.
the Trauma Center
but
games had pretty good writing as I understand it.
yeah, the writing was good and the challenges were it was a big inspiration for me the way that they handled all of the different items you could use because they just had them on like an 8 directional like wheel that you could select from, so you could switch between the different items you needed to do the surgery
Yeah, it
pretty
was
quick.
one of the first games to implement that system, like a wheel system.
Yeah, and they did it amazingly. It was so and the writing was great too. And having the nurse say "Good work, Dr. Styles" after every surgery was great. Like she was just so enthusiastic.
You played Cooking Mama, didn't you?
No.
Okay. You need to.
Yeah.
If that's all it takes to make
Honorable
you feel
mention,
good, you need Cooking
Overcooked.
Mama. Overcooked is a party game, and that's further down on the list.
Man, that's hard.
Not simulation. What's next? Because we have the same answer.
MMO is the next in the
Yes.
category.
MMO or MMORPGs specifically.
Yeah, MMORPGs. 3, 2, 1.
RuneScape. And I mean, like, come on, like you knew what we were gonna say.
Mhm.
Like, if everyone has not at least played RuneScape, everyone has heard of RuneScape.
Yep.
Like, that's the way it is. That's the way cookie crumbles. And I'm not like I don't say RuneScape because RuneScape was like particularly fantastic, although it is kind of groundbreaking still to this day on the boundaries it sort of pushes in the genre. But
the soundtrack.
Oh man, Sea Shanty. Sea Shanty 2.
Soundtracks can elevate a game so much.
Because
like the reason that Jet Set Radio has a amazing soundtrack. But RuneScape, credit to the people who do sound design for that. Simulation. Puzzle? Sorry, Abby, there's a game that Abby's been playing where it's like you design, it's like an interior decorating game.
But the community votes on it.
Yeah. So I don't know what that. I guess simulation.
Is it? What game is it?
What's it called?
Design Home.
The Animal Crossing?
I think it's
No,
about
it's called Design Home.
It's about as casual as you can get. Because you're just like clicking like, oh, this is the couch that should be in this room. And then you can get money from challenges. And then you can run out of things and it's like, oh no, I need to buy a floor plant, which would look better. And what can I afford?
I guess, yeah, I'd put that as simulation. Like even with the community aspect of it, it still feels like.
Yeah, it's not like MMO.
Oh no, not at all. I haven't played any of those. I've played like a tiny, like 5 minutes maybe of World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I had about the same experience. I couldn't get into it. I couldn't stick with it. Like
I was like, this is gonna cost me how much money? And I make like half that for my monthly allowance. Yeah, no, this ain't happening.
I have seen people play it in ways that seem like it would be fun, but you have to set a bunch of constraints for yourself to make it seem interesting at all.
Okay.
Because I saw like there's a playthrough called Peacecraft that Griffin McElroy did, where he couldn't do anything.
He couldn't kill anything.
Yeah.
That's agonizing to watch.
Oh, but yeah, he kind of cheats because everyone learns his username and they all just send him tons of gifts.
Yeah, if you're streaming, it makes that game like easier based on like your followers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, a couple more categories, and we're probably gonna have time for maybe one or two more beyond that. But let's keep moving.
We're gonna list other MMOs, so not MMORPGs,
but MMO others.
Like, I'll list this just as an example, but it's definitely not anywhere close to being a favorite game of mine. But like Destiny, it's a MMO FPS.
Well, PlanetSide too, MMO FPS. Not my favorite, but I did play a fair amount of it.
Where does is Fortnite just is that
Fortnite? I thought about bringing this up when we were talking about planning, but are we going to consider battle royales their own genre? Because they are becoming their own genre, I would argue.
I would have to say unless do they go in the MOBA category. MOBAs typically are based around a hero, but
I would say that Battle Royale represents the win condition for a type of game because Tetris 99 is a Battle Royale.
That's true.
But it's still primarily a puzzle game.
True.
So the win condition is outlasting other people, but I think that the mechanics still fall under different genres.
So it's a third-person shooter then. Fortnite would be.
Fortnite is a third-person shooter, which makes Apex Legends a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
Which I have to give an honorable mention to because I love that game.
Yeah. It's a very well-designed game.
And it's free.
So yeah, okay. I don't have
other MMOs.
Yeah, I don't have any other like type of MMO that is my favorite.
I was gonna say Destiny 2 because I really enjoyed playing it, but I'm gonna have to give it to MechWarrior Online. It is very well designed for being MechWarrior, but being MechWarrior with other humans. And maybe it's not MMO because the battles are fairly small. I think 16 is the highest amount of mechs. It might be 24 now that you can have on the field at the same time. But the community is massively multiplayer.
Gotcha.
So I would argue that MechWarrior Online falls into that category, and if it does, then that's my pick.
Okay.
All right. So you don't have
The
one?
final category for today's episode.
Possibly. We do have some time left over.
Oh.
I mean, based on how long our videos have been, but you know.
Yeah. We have
Final
we have
category is.
racing.
I was gonna do a drum roll. It's okay. Racing. So
Yeah.
your favorite racing game?
My favorite racing game is Need for Speed Carbon.
Why?
My reasons for that are, well, one, it was one of the first like racing, like customize your car kind of games that I played. But the other part of it was there were some really fun and interesting mechanics that were in it. Like you could basically have like a support car with you in some of the races that would do different things. So you could set it to either, have your partner kind of like knock out the person that was in front of you, or have them
Oh, okay.
be in front of you so you could like catch their like drift stream, whatever that was called.
Slipstream.
Slipstream, yeah. So you could like catch that, or you could set it where they would always find shortcuts for you. So like that was an interesting thing. But then the other part was I really liked the storyline, because in that game you were like conquering different areas and taking out like other racing gangs, which I thought was just really cool. I really enjoyed a lot of that. And some of the challenges on it were really hard. Like the mountain races were just, man. And it was funny because my sister, who is normally not into those types of games, also really enjoyed that game. Like she played a lot of it. And so I think that is, credit to its
You had it on GameCube, correct?
Wii.
Wii, okay. It was
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, so we were, you could either do the motion controls, or you could do a control with the stick.
Motion controls for that game seem bonkers.
Yeah, they were not, a lot of motion controls for racing games are not great. But anyways, it was a real good game.
So the racing games I have played, mostly it's Mario Kart. That's not a surprise. It's a very popular one. I played it at friends' houses growing up, and now I have a Switch. The one that I played the most growing up was a terrible one made by Pangea Software called Cro-Mag Rally, which was
Oh man.
Anthem,
Oh, I'm in 3rd grade again.
which had terrible controls.
Cro-Mag Rally.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yeah, you didn't think you were gonna remember that.
The nostalgia. Oh. Wow.
Waves of
Yep.
nostalgia.
Oh
Might have
man.
been the computer was not very good, or maybe it was just that the game was not very good, but
It was
the
both.
frame rate was miserable, and you'd always get stuck on the wall. Maybe I was just really, really bad, but it was very hard to like.
It was hard to play because it was so badly designed.
Yep.
Like the Conduit.
Hey,
I will take every opportunity to
watch
use
your
that
mouth.
game crap. Especially after what you said earlier. I have not forgotten. We're gonna fight.
Because I love the Conduit, I'm allowed to cast aspersions. We joked
My
earlier.
favorite racing game. My favorite racing game. I gotta give it to Need for Speed Most Wanted, the newer one, which is people are gonna give me shit for, but I really enjoyed it. Exploring the city was just fun. Like the city was so large, and finding all the cars was just fun. Like I just had a great time playing it. But I gotta give honorable mention to, as Abby was saying, like Mario Kart. Like everybody's got a favorite Mario Kart. And while Double Dash is considered by a lot of people to be the pinnacle of the series, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for Switch
Yep.
is pretty great. But I also got to give an honorable mention to a game that just slipped my mind. You mentioned Cro-Mag Rally, and I thought of it right before you said that. And then, oh, Jacob and I were talking about this off record. Diddy Kong Racing.
Hi, I'm Timba.
great. For originally for Nintendo 64 and then re-released for 3DS. Or was it regular DS?
Regular DS.
Yeah, it was regular Nintendo DS.
Yeah, it was a fun game. It was like it was similar to Mario Kart in that you were up against other people and you would run into colored balloons that would give you power-ups instead of rotating colored blocks.
I did like the way that the power-ups worked though. How like you ran into a red balloon and it gave you a missile, but if you like held on to the missile, you ran into another red balloon, then you got like 10 missiles.
Yeah.
And so it sort of like had that little like kind of like hidden like kind of strategy elements where like did you want to hold on to your boost or like do you need it right now? If you hold on to your boost, you get like a better boost later. Or like you hold on to your missiles and you get like a better missile later. Like
I did have one of the Game Boy Advance versions of F-Zero.
F-Zero's so hard. It's too hard to be on this list for me.
That was actually a pretty good game. Although everything was in Japanese, and so we couldn't read any of the menus.
How did you end up with a Japanese copy of F-Zero?
My brother.
Yeah.
A friend of his gave him a Japanese Game Boy Advance. It was white. Like
Cool.
no one else had one. It was so cool. And that was actually the Game Boy Advance that we used to play a lot. And then I think eventually we got a black one that was American. But
cool. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I did want to say we were joking earlier that the Conduit is a garbage simulator.
Actual garbage simulator, Viscera cleanup detail though.
I didn't even know that was a game.
Yeah, you the way Viscera cleanup detail works is you are the janitor that cleans the arenas where think like Quake 3 or like Unreal Tournament. After the battle is over, you're the janitor that comes in and like cleans the area.
Wow.
It's very absorbing. It's strangely satisfying to play.
Is it as absorbent as the wipes you use to clean up the viscera?
Okay, here's the thing. So there's like blood all over the arena, right? So you have a mop and you have a bucket, and you like mop up the blood. But if your mop gets too like if you get too much blood on it before you clean it off, then you're just like spreading the blood around. So you have to like clean it off after you mop up enough stuff.
Oh
but if water in the mop bucket gets too bloody, anytime you like clean your mop and like go to dip it in the water, then you're just spreading the blood around again. So you have to eventually like keep getting like new mop buckets and filling them and then like taking it over to the area. You have to like pick up the individual like shell casings and all of the bodies are in these bags that you have to pick up and like take them over to the incinerator and you throw away. And sometimes the machine for the mop buckets screws up and spits out like giblets. And so then you have to like clean that up because it's in the area that you've already cleaned. And you should look up like a playthrough of it or like somebody playing it to really learn about the game.
Really understand.
But it's so satisfying to play and also to watch. Because you start and it's like going into a warehouse job and you're just like, oh my gosh, there's so much work to do. Like it's never gonna get done. And then once you're done, you're like, oh, like you can't believe that you've like achieved that.
Every level's a boss level.
Kinda, yeah. It's not Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh.
Anyway,
well,
so that's about what we have for today. Category. We're gonna go through the rest of our category lists next time on the Dr. Z Show. But what are y'all's final thoughts? Do we have any final thoughts for this episode?
I think it's interesting seeing the types of games that everyone is into and their reasons, because I think it would be fair to say that, Jacob, you're attracted to, strong difficulty curves.
Yes.
Jacob just likes horribly difficult games.
Yep.
And spicy food. Are those
Mhm.
connected?
Maybe. What do you think sums up your general taste in games, Anthony?
Whew, man.
Like, what are the common threads between the games that you go back to?
Hardball question. There aren't any. Like, I like a lot of different games for a lot of different reasons. Like,
I think you like
I
you
was
like
not
having
prepared to
fun,
answer this
though.
question. I like
You
what?
like having fun, but not always not in like the same way that like party games are fun. Like you it's if a gritty storyline isn't you're not just like, oh yeah, I like gritty storylines. You're like, I like a gritty storyline where I feel like I'm really like participating in it, or like it's fun for you for that reason. Like
Yeah, and it really depends on what kind of mood I'm in. Like, in terms of what kind of game I want to play, except for Age of Empires, I would say I could play Age of Empires in any mood ever that I'm in. But like, if I want to be like really engrossed in a storyline and sit down and play a game for 8 hours, like I'm gonna play The Witcher. Like, because I sit down and I play the game and I don't want to get up because I'm so interested to know what happens next. If I'm, going on a long trip or like a plane ride or a long car ride and I want to have something to do, but I can still participate in the conversation with other, human beings in the car or whatever, I'll play like Pokemon because I don't really have to pay like super close attention to what I'm doing.
oh yeah, that's true.
Um, if I want to be challenged but still have fun, I'll play like roguelike games or like turn-based strategy games. Um, yeah, I mean it really depends on what kind of mood of I'm in to determine what kind of game I want to play. Because I,
Before,
I I think of myself as like having a very diverse like library of games.
yes,
There's like a lot of
I,
like different kinds of games that I play, and it's usually dependent on one, if I'm playing with another person or other people, two, what kind of mood I'm in, and three, like, do I have to be doing something else? Like, do I have to converse with people? Can I sit down and only focus on the game? Am I sitting down and playing a game with someone else that I can't see?
yeah, that's a good point, because
Turn.
there's certain games that you play because you want to be better at them, and then there's other games that you play because you want to see what happens next.
And I'll
And
say
there's
this. I'll say this about StarCraft too. Like, I don't want to give away what happens, but early on in Heart of the Swarm and StarCraft 2, there's a huge moment in the story. And I got up, took my like very calmly got up, took my headset off, like set it down very gently on my desk, picked up my chair and threw it down a hallway. I was so angry about what had happened in the story that I was like literally like I was like shaking. I was like, they can't do this. Like they can't do this in the story. And I really don't want to give away what happens, but it's
I
jarring.
off air. I want to know what this moment was.
I can tell you off record. I don't want to tell you while we're
Yeah, yeah.
recording because I don't want to give it away. But oh man,
Speaking of like being in the mood for different things, and if you need to be, before we ask Abby
Mhm.
what her genre, what her like general
common thread.
gaming attitude, common thread is. Um, I have actually done the best playing Enter the Gungeon when I've been in the
Yeah, we
middle of
talked about this.
when I've been in the middle of needing to talk to people. Like when I'm really focused on the game, I actually don't do that great. But when I'm like casually playing it, I actually like get really far.
You do better because you're playing the game despite the distractions going on around you, I think.
A
Because
little
like
bit, yeah. And I'm
you
like, and
you
I'm trying to
sat
pay
down to
attention to the
play the
conversation.
game, but there's other things happening that you want
Yeah.
to be involved in.
hmm Yeah, and so I think part of it is I don't overthink things as much.
That
Well,
happens to me with the Dead Cells. I tried it with Enter the Gungeon and I got
And that
like creamed.
my downfall.
Um, but it happens to me a little bit with Dead Cells. So Abby, what's your what do you think your common thread is?
I mean, looking at the list, it's clear that I don't have a very wide amount of gaming experience. You could kind of say like, oh, like these are just the, gimme answers for a lot of these categories. But I
And
really
that's
like,
fair. Like people
yeah.
like Mario Kart because Mario Kart's like a well-polished like racing game. Like,
But I
I
think that I tend to like games that reward you for the time that you put into them by making you like very strong. I like a bit of a collectathon. I like catching them all.
Yes.
Like if it's Zoo Tycoon, I want to have all the animals in all the exhibits. I don't want to have only done like 75% of the possible thing. I want to get all the upgrades that I can for everything.
so
And
you're a
that's one of
completionist.
yeah, a bit of a completionist. So that's why
All right.
roguelikes frustrate me because it's hard to do that and typically not very possible.
All right, so we have to get Abby a Nintendo 64 and Donkey Kong 64.
That'd be great.
So that game is bonkers. Collecting everything. Oh man. See, okay, here's the other thing. I'm gonna sing its praises a little bit more before we're finally out. But in Dead Cells, it is a roguelike game, but you unlock things as you progress. So like the first time you play, you start with like your starting, like sword or starting shield or starting, whatever
Oh,
weapons.
I see.
And then so you're progressing through the level and you fight like, all these enemies and you collect the cells of the enemies. Sort of like think like souls in Dark Souls. But each enemy like only gives you one. And then at the end of the level, you visit this person called the Collector, and you give him all of your souls, and you can unlock like a different sword. Maybe it's a spear, maybe it's a sword that does more damage, does backstab damage. Maybe it's two swords, or like you can unlock a different bow that freezes enemies or whatever.
The
And
singing
then
sword from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
no, and then I'm not even gonna give you that one. And then the next time you play the game, like, and once you unlock things via the Collector, like if it's a trap or a sword or a shield or whatever it is, once you unlock something, it's there forever in your save file. And say you start the game over again, you could find that sword, or you could start with that sword or that shield or those traps or whatever.
But I like to hoard.
Well, okay.
That's the great thing about Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, you can afford 80 apples.
80. You think I'm some kind of like
Plebes.
Casual.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like
Okay,
200.
800 apples. Sorry.
Not
Is there a stack limit in Breath of the Wild?
999.
Yeah, 999. I haven't done any of the crazy arrow farming things that you can do. Like there's a certain area where the Lizalfos will just shoot at you a bunch and you can just run around and grab all the arrows.
Get max arrows in an hour.
But I just buy everything from every merchant.
How do you have that kind of rupees? Like, holy crap.
She has like 20,000 rupees.
What?
You just gotta
1,000?
find.
She has like 15 diamonds just chilling in her inventory.
I worked.
She started killing Lionel.
Yeah, you kill Lionels. You upgrade all your armor.
How do you kill Lionels? I'm still terrified of them.
You have
They
to. Well,
one-shot
Stasis
me.
Plus is useful to have, but you really need to just have like a triple attack up kind of thing. So when the Yiga clan members start teleporting to your location, you just kill them and get bananas. So it's basically just that bananas teleport to you.
Bananas.
Yeah, and then you just, have a bunch of bananas and some bomb arrows. Rivali's Gale is also useful to get the drop on them when you first get there. And
This is complicated.
I typically just shoot them in the face and try to stun lock them as much as possible, and then run away from their, like...
We are
breathing
still talking about Breath of the Wild, right?
Yeah?
Okay. I'm just like thinking about like things out of context.
This is
Like
the
when-
game that I have sunk the most time into.
Like Jacob probably remembers when my computer systems team and I used to talk about our Quake mod, our Quake 3 mod, aliens versus humans or humans versus aliens. Talking about the face huggers from the movie grabbing people.
Yep.
And just like the aliens interacting with the human characters, but then us talking about that and like walking down the hallway at school, like teachers being like, "What the heck? What are these kids talking about?" Gotta have context, otherwise you're just like very lost and very.
Yeah, the really sad thing is that ancient arrows will one-shot anything, but they won't drop any items. So, ancient
didn't know that.
arrows...
That's good to know.
Yeah. If you shoot an ancient arrow at a Lionel, it'll just kind of be sucked into a small black hole, and nothing will happen.
Yep, I killed my first Lionel that way because I had no armor and no good weapon.
All right, well maybe we'll have to do a guide episode with Abby. How to play Breath of the Wild. How to get good in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, except I'm not good at the actual dodging things and like the perfect dodge parry and stuff. I don't do that.
Just hoard items. That's how you get good.
She is a tank.
I'm a tank, and I like sneak up and drop bombs into the eye sockets of the skull caves.
Yeah, like a white bokoblin hit her, and it dealt like half a heart of damage, and I was like, "What? How?
How?"
It's because I focus on upgrading my armor.
Yeah, none of my stuff is really upgraded. So.
I go to the fairies, they say what I don't have, and then it's a shopping list.
Okay. Anyway.
Mario does the daily shop.
Okay. So we're gonna talk about the rest of this list, and maybe we'll add some more categories to it. But that's all we got right now for the Dr. Z show. Thanks for coming back at our new time on Saturdays, and we will see you guys next time.
Adios.
Bye.